What is going on, guys? It's Casey here, and today's video is going to be a tutorial video on how to be a total stud. I am just kidding, guys. In fact, if anything, this video is probably the exact opposite. That's right, we're going to be talking about one of my mistakes, one of my many mistakes that I made when I started this business as a general contractor. I wish that I could tell you guys that this is a clickbait video, but you've seen right, we kind of accidentally, sort of demoed some random guys. I know what you guys are thinking. What the f? How in the hell does something like that even happen? I'll be telling you guys exactly how it went down. Coming right up. Now, before we get this video started, if you guys have had any crazy experiences of your own, I would love to hear them down in the comment section below. Seriously, guys, anything crazy at all, you go ahead and comment down below, alright? It would, it would make me feel a lot better. And as always, smash that like button, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you love hearing crazy content like this is going to be the first of many videos that I'm going to be posting. Believe it or not, in my young days of being a contractor, I've had plenty of crazy experiences. So when I first got my contractor's license, I scored a pretty good sized remodel. This thing was getting a total makeover inside and out. New doors, new cabinets, flooring, paint, siding, a new roof, the whole 9 yards. Now, I sub out all of my roofing projects just because it's expensive to cover that under insurance, and it's a huge liability doing that type of work. So I called up a few roofers in town to get a bid for the project. Now, keep in mind that when I had this remodel going on, I had 3 other projects going on, all at the same time. The first mistake. I just hired on my first employee. I had 4 total projects going on, and like as all of this was going on, I was still going out on job bids to get other jobs. Like I didn't have enough on my plate already, and I'm still going out getting other jobs. To be honest, like looking back now, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I don't know if it was just like fear of running out of work, or if I just wanted to tackle every single project in my town. I don't know. Because I was so busy running my head off everywhere around town, I did not have time to meet up with the roofing contractor at the site. So I texted him the address. You can see where this is going. I texted him the address and said, hey, I won't be able to meet you at the site, but here's the address. My clients want to remove all the shingles that are on the roof now, replace them all. Everything is cool, everything is good. So this was also during the summer, which was the busy season for roofers. And he said, hey, if you want this project done right away, I can go out and make a bid based off of what I see from the house. I don't really have the time to take out my measuring tape and figure out how many squares the house are. I'll just make up a quick bid based off of what I see. So I thought, hey, that's totally fine. We need this done right away. So he goes out to the site alone, just does a little drive-by, makes a bid based off of what he sees from the house. He gives me a bid, and I pass it on to my clients. It was a little bit cheaper than they had anticipated, but I mean, who's gonna argue with a cheap bid from a quality roofer? I don't know of anybody that would do that. I agreed with the clients. It did seem a little bit cheap for the size of the house of the remodel that we were working on, but I just told them, hey, you know, it's more money in your pocket. We'll have them come out and tackle the project. So the next week is when the roofers come out to do their work, and where do you think that I am at? That's right, I'm working on 4 other projects and 5 gazillion other bids. He calls me the day before just to confirm that he's doing the work. He said, hey, is it possible that you can meet me at the job site? I had another project going on early that morning, so I just told him, hey, you know, I'll be there around mid-morning, but my employee is going to be there around 7 o'clock, which was supposedly the time that they were going to start. The morning of, I finish up my early morning project, and I'm headed out to the job site, the remodel, and I get a phone call, and it's the roofing sub. and he sounds a little bit panicked. He said, hey, I haven't seen your guy here. I thought he was supposed to be here. And so I was like, okay, you know, he said that he was there. I texted him up, said, hey, are you at the job site this morning? He texted me back, said, yeah, I've been here all morning since 7. My worker at the time was a really trustworthy guy, so I knew he was there. I texted him and asked him if he had seen the roofing crew there. And he said no, but there is a roofing crew a few houses down demoing a roof. And I was just like, okay, like that's really weird, but okay. So I called back the roofer and I described to him my worker's truck, said, hey, have you seen this vehicle here? And he started to sound a little bit more panicked by that time. He said, I do see that truck, but it's a few houses down. And I was like, what? And I think at that moment in time, like it just, like everything just started adding up. Like it was just like a moment, like it struck us both. He was just like, oh, and I was just like, hey, you know, don't worry, like I'll be there in a minute. Just stop doing demo work on the house that you're on. I will be there right away. Like deep down inside, I was super panicked as well. I was trying not to show it, but I mean, it was just like, holy crap, somebody done messed up. So I'm driving down the street that the remodel is supposed to be on. And sure enough, before I get to the end of the street where the cul-de-sac starts, where the actual house is at, I see off to the left a roofing crew up above in this roof that was just completely demolished. I just remember driving by and it was just like, and I will never forget this moment. Like this was the most embarrassing thing ever. Not just because of the fact that I really messed up bad, but the fact that when I got out of my truck, the roofing crew was not a small roofing crew by any means. There was probably like 12 guys up on the roof, all whispering back and forth between each other. I heard one guy out loud, he was just like, oh boy, here we go. It was my first time meeting the roofing sub. And it's like, we literally just ripped off some random guy's roof.
We literally just ripped off some random guy's roof.
You know, luckily he was a really good guy. I could tell by just the way that he handled the whole situation. And if he was seriously, like, deeply panicked, which, you know, I actually know that he was, but he put on a pretty good front with it. I think that me and him were just very similar in the fact that it's like any problem that we run into, there's no dwelling on the problem. You know, it is what it is. It already happened. Let's just get straight to the solution. So, you know, it was a very mature interaction between the both of us. You know, it wasn't like bickering back and forth like, okay, who done messed up here? Whose fault is this? It's like, hey, where do we go from here? So we talk about it for a little bit and we try to find the owner of the house. And get this, the story just keeps getting better and better. Like all of the puzzle pieces literally fit so perfectly together with the timing and everything. Like the coincidences to make this disaster happen were scary. The owner happened to be out of town that weekend. And so we're just like, what? We try to get in contact with him. We made up with some of his neighbors. We finally get his phone number. We call the guy up and we give him the spiel. If the owner would have been there and the roofing sub knocked, and I mean, he would have figured out that it was the wrong house. I would have gotten a phone call. I would have redirected the roofing sub to the right house. Like everything would have been totally fine. But the 1 week that we decided to do the work, the owner is out of town. But luckily, this guy was also mature about the whole situation. He was super laid back, which, thank God. He basically just told us, yeah, I mean, that's totally fine that you guys messed up. Mistakes happen. As long as if you guys replace completely, you know, what you have ripped off, I am totally cool with it. You know, so me and the roofing sub, we started talking about, you know, hey, who went wrong? How do we split up the cost then if we're going to make this fix for our mistakes? He basically told me that I sent him there to the address, which I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I didn't. So we pulled up my old texts and sure enough, there was a typo in my text. There was one number off and it sent him down a few houses. And I was just like, how? did that even happen? We didn't catch it in his bid. When he placed the bid, he had the address on the bid. Me and the client didn't catch that. Like, this thing just totally went over everybody's heads. You know, I argued the point that he was on the wrong street too, which, you know, we had the normal street that the house that he did the demo work was on, and the actual house was down on the cul-de-sac, right down on that street. It was just a really awkward situation. So me and the roofing sub, we came to the conclusion that we were gonna split up the costs of the fix-up. He was gonna cover his labor for his guys for what he thought would take a couple of days to bust out that job. And I ended up covering all the materials for the job. The materials cost was not cheap by any means. You know, it was a pretty decent sized house. It wasn't as big as the house that the remodel was that we were working on, but it was still a pretty sizable house. And on top of that, you know, they didn't rip everything off. They had about 2/3, I would say, to 3/4, somewhere in there, of the shingles ripped off of the roof. So, I mean, these materials were definitely not cheap by any means. It was just a really rough time because I came into the construction business what I felt like was prematurely. I didn't really save up for it. I hired on an employee right away, and so I had a mouth to feed. I was just a total disaster. So we got everything fixed up. You know, it only took a couple of days. I ended up covering the materials. He covered the labor. Everything was good after that. We got back on track. He ended up roofing the actual job, which was great. You know, I've really come to the conclusion that I like learning things the hard way because I've made a lot of other mistakes like this that were crazy like this. This is not really one that you would hear of very often. But yeah, it was definitely a crazy mistake, you know, and I totally owned up to it. If you guys are going to take anything away from this video besides a good laugh, you know, maybe learn from me and have better communication skills. And know that it's also okay to make mistakes. It's how you react to those mistakes that means everything to a client. To this day, even though I've learned so much and have come such a long ways, I constantly make mistakes. But I feel like my clients, what they respect most about me is how I react to them, and I take full accountability for what I do wrong, and I make things right for people. You know, I wish I could stay in contact too with the family that let me do that remodel as well. They were a really great family. I really love those guys. They were really supportive of me and my business. They tried to make me feel like I was part of the family as best as they could. But unfortunately, I made a lot of other mistakes on top of what that roofing mistake was. And we ended up having a falling out, and I'm not in contact with those people anymore. But they're really great people. You know, these mistakes just have to happen in order for us to learn. I'm really lucky that I did have that experience because I learned a lot from it, and I've come such a long way since then. Alrighty guys, so that's about all the time that we have for this video. Like I said, leave a comment below if you've ever had any sort of crazy experience, business people or not. Go ahead and leave a comment below. And remember to like and subscribe. This is your final warning. Like and subscribe to this channel. Alrighty guys, I will see you next time. Don't forget to check out my tiny home videos too. I'm going to be uploading those super soon. Alrighty, we'll see you guys later.